Suddenly the voices were replaced by an explosion. The boy quickly opened his eyes, alarmed. The figures had vanished. Ella's diary was on the ground, open on the page she had been looking at, and the room was filled with smoke. Through the smoke appeared Young with a metal piece. I got the first piece! His mouth and nose were covered with some cloth. 7 more to go. He ran over to a wall, disappearing in the smoke again. Varian, still dazed, looked at the piece of metal. It was a solid cylinder of a light-colored metal. He picked it up and studied it. On one side there was a tiny protuberance, as if it could be put together with something else. He checked the book again, this time with a clear mind. Of course, it was a piece of this staff. Great job, Young. He ran over to one of the lights in the wall and felt the rock. He grabbed the liquid from his bag, mixing it with another chemical and pouring it over the rock. It sizzled and popped, melting away the hardened lava. It didn't seem to affect the metal beneath it at all. Varian grabbed the cylinder he had freed from the rock and studied it up close. The smoke from Young's fireworks made his eyes tear up, so he slipped the goggles over his eyes and tried to get a clear look at the metal. Fascinating! The stuff is made out of tungsten. What's that? Young appeared next to him, putting 2 parts of the staff together. Tungsten, also known as wolfram, and indicated with the element symbol W and atomic number 74, is a rare metal and chemical element. It's known for its extremely high melting point of 3,422 degrees Celsius. It's an extremely long, strong, but flexible metal and is often used in dust form. Very durable and can resist corrosion. Varian rambled. He took a breath to say more, but John interrupted him. Wow, that's so cool! You will have a really strong staff once we put it all together. Varian nodded in confirmation. He moved on to remove the next piece from the wall, ignoring the rising heat. Something was bothering him, though. Hey, Young, how did you know exactly what to do? Like, with the cloth and blowing up rocks? The kid shrugged. You dropped your book. I smelled something, so I held my breath, and I read it, and it said not to breathe the air, because it's dangerous. So I made a mask to breathe through, and then I checked out the lights. He paused for a moment. You were acting all weird, trembling, and you didn't listen. Are you okay? I'm all right now, thank you, the older boy said, patting the younger on his head. Let's get those last pieces, all right? It's getting warm in here. Warm was an understatement. The air was heating up rapidly, and both boys were drenched in sweat. The heat was almost unbearable. It could be seen in the form of those heat wiggles in the air. The walls were hot to the touch, and the air was painful to breathe as well. Young nodded quickly and got back to work, carefully placing explosives on the little lights and blowing up the rocks. Varian worked on dissolving the stone as quick as he could. Soon they had gathered all the pieces. Quick, Varian said, both boys struggling to breathe in the hot air by now. They put together the staff rapidly. When it was done, they both looked at each other and gave a quick nod, got up and watched the next door open up. Young was the first to run through the door. He didn't even notice the tiles with symbols in front of him. He just ran in, relieved that it wasn't as hot as the previous room. Glad he could breathe again, though keeping his mouth covered with the cloth just in case. A click echoed through the room. Frank quickly took note of what was happening. He grabbed Young by the arm and pulled him back. Watch out! Just as the tile under the arsonist disappeared, he was pulled away by the alchemist. The tile splashed into the magma below, melting under the extreme temperatures. Young looked at the hole where he had just stood a moment ago, then back at Varian. The latter was looking at the diary again. The younger didn't want to disturb him, so instead of thanking him, he just waited in silence until Varian could figure out how to get through this. Easy enough, a voice sounded behind the two. Both Varian and Young quickly looked up. The voice belonged to a tall blond boy. He winked at Varian and did some finger guns at Young. Watch me. The boy looked at the book once more before swiftly jumping onto one of the tiles. Without further hesitation, he ran and jumped over to other tiles. None of them fell or even did as much as creak or move under the blonde's weight. Varian quickly got up and closed the diary. Only step on the salamander or that specific flower, he told Young, keeping an eye on the new guy. He jumped on a tile marked with a fire poppy, then on another one with a salamander. Another one with a salamander. The next closest one was a fire puppy. Carefully he made his way over to the other side, Young following behind. When they finally got to the door, the new guy had already reached the totem. He was admiring it. The urge to just steal it and run to mess with these two was stronger than his common sense. He watched the two enter the room. "Hey, that's our totem!" Young yelled, arming himself with firecrackers, ready to attack if needed. Varian had just decorated his staff with alchemy balls and held it out in front of himself defensively. It was a laughable sight to Hugo. Did these two really think they could fight him and win? A child with fireworks and a short guy with a stick. LeBlanc chuckled. "Finders keepers," he mused, feeling in his pocket with his right hand. He teased the marble-sized balls with his fingers before scooping them up in his hand. "Anyway, I should head out. By the way, I like your stick. It's pretty." He threw the balls on the ground, where they exploded into smoke. While Varian and Young were distracted, Hugo took the opportunity to run out of there. Young coughed, scrunching his nose in disgust at the sulphuric scent of the smoke. "He's gone!" "Damn it!" Varian tightened the grip on his staff in his hands. "We'll track him down. Let's get out of here. He can't be far." He didn't even wait for an answer. Running out through the exit that had opened after the totem had been picked up, they were back at the foot of the volcano again. And that's the end of chapter 5. Yeah, chapter 5.